All right, well, let's send it over to the draft then, where we've already banned the Olaf, and you were talking to me a little bit before the game. Olaf, we're not expecting to see a whole lot of, because that is a champion that you want to take off the board before you start.
Yeah, Olaf just has incredible early game, and even with the new items, I feel like scales even better into the late game, which was something that Olaf just didn't need. And you can see that taking away Jhin, taking away things like Pantheon and Lilia as well, already jungle and bot lane priority really standing out.
Yeah, the Lilia is a little bit odd to me because I don't think that Lilia is particularly powerful right now, but Aegis did play it yesterday and
Hmm.
did succeed. I feel like he knows his way around the Lilia, and even if it's not the most powerful thing, being able to have that comfort, the synergy that already exists with Red Canids, knowing the limits of that champion as a team, is going to be taken away, and we'll see if Aegis has anything else to show us. Talia, also, that fast tempo jungler, will really only leave Revolta with something like the Nidalee if he wants to go for the same style.
Yeah, and we'll have to wait and see if they do first pick something along those lines. But you have to remember here, dear, that they've let through Akali here, typically a very red-sided ban, just because of the outright priority and just sheer power that Akali has, allowing that one through the draft. And you can see Red Canids in an instant just snap it up.
Here I am looking at all the picks that they've already taken away, and I'm like, oh yeah, those are all good. I totally forgot that Akali existed because she was banned every single game yesterday. Already, first game of today, we're getting Akali, and putting it on Red Canids is going to be such a test and a testament to how well they can play together and around this champion. Kai'Sa, though, of course, is going to be responded with, and she's a rather strong champion in her own right.
Exactly. One of the probably the best AD carry that I can think of for dealing with assassins has got a little bit of movement speed to get toward or to get out of any Akali abilities. Has got the ulti as well to maybe dash out of that perfect execution Mark II, or even just the Shuriken flip as well. Plenty of ways to try and deal with the Akali, but the fact that it's just come through, we have to mention, of course, that there's a chance this goes into the top lane for Guigo. But honestly, Avenger in the mid lane, we're looking to see an exemplary performance once again. Had the Aurelia yesterday. Maybe didn't look quite as good on that one, but Akali just outright top tier.
Yeah, this is a pick that I'm super ready for. Like the draft is happening around it, so let's talk about Revolta's Graves a little bit. I mentioned the Nidalee. He's ended up with the AD version of said champion, but Graves to me also hasn't stood out. And it seems like on the other side of this, Aegis is getting the Nidalee. How's this matchup?
So Graves typically probably fairly happy with the Nidalee matchup. Nidalee in her own right is still a very strong champion, but just the fact that you have quick draw means that it's very difficult for a Nidalee to ever land a spear on you in the first place. And if you hit that spear, Nidalee tends to win most trades, but Graves is just so strong as a jungler on his own that you can just win trades, maybe even with the spear hitting that W, having the quick draw as well to really buy a little bit more distance. Graves is pretty much king of the jungle right now.
Ooh, and I gotta ask you about this as well. We see an Aatrox lock in at the end here. Normally, I would say Aatrox, of course, going to the top lane for Bull. In this instance, I want to ask you: is this a potential flex pick to take into the Akali wherever she might be?
I think it's a potential answer to the Akali. I would like to, if we're assuming Akali goes mid lane and fitting Avengers playstyle, then yes, there's a chance the Aatrox goes mid lane. Most typically, of course, we do expect to see it in the top lane, and it just makes sense with the way that drafts typically go that you would answer, you would pick an Akali answer here. So I don't mind the notion that the Aatrox could be there to pick as a counter. So we'll have to wait and see how, of course, INTZ pick their bans. They have got the opportunity to still send this Aatrox top lane, and you can see a few bans going into the top lane role. Maybe they're trying to find a favourable matchup in case they want to flex it up there.
Unfortunately, taking away Cabu's Alistair. That really hurts me. Dude, I was excited to see it one more time, but we'll get to see what else he has. He's going to be paired with a Misfortune, which I didn't expect coming into today. Maybe given more the Akali playstyle that they're going for, but his Aphelios yesterday did look really strong.
And sometimes Aphelios is picked into Kai'Sa, right? Just as an answer, you do have a little bit more range in the laning phase with that sniper gun, and you can maybe keep the Kai'Sa down, but Misfortune is queen of laning phase down in bot lane, has
Hmm.
got the ability to start with her E, go that tier route, build up man immune stacks incredibly quickly, and just outright bully a lane with Arcane Comet, keep the Kai'Sa down, and then just use your bullet time to destroy her in team fights if she's not quite on top of it with that killer instinct. So I don't mind the Misfortune at all to really try and keep the Kai'Sa down.
Yeah, unfortunately, Red Canids needing to ban away the Leona, keeping them from doubling down that very, very strong laning phase, and instead are going to give over the Nautilus to Cabu, or to who we can only assume to be Cabu on INTZ, a very strong support in his own right. I want to see if they have an answer here, because it feels like with the way that the draft has gone, they've been left with the scraps of support to go along with something like the Misfortune that, as you mentioned, is very strong.
So Red Canids obviously double banned out the supports here, and knowing that with Alistair and Leona off the table, we really only have a couple of supports left in the pool. We saw a little bit of Rel yesterday when we've seen it across in other
Mm-hmm.
regions as well. But Nautilus has just been that staple support pick for so long that you have to imagine INTZ were always going to pick up that Nautilus. And it looks like they're going to answer with the Galio in combination with a Misfortune. Very nice as a champion to combo down bot lane. It does leave them very magic damage oriented. And well, I mean, there we go. You wanted magic damage, Yone, quite the opposite.
Yeah, that's a really nice pickup, and actually, this might signal the flex of the Akali into the top lane with Yone going mid, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, exactly. So with the Yone pickup, typically more seen in the mid lane and another AD mid laner for Avenger if, of course, Yone does go there. But with these two solo laners can flex either way. I'd like to say that you could probably send the Yone into the top lane and they'd have just as fine a time. But with the LeBlanc locked in, it doesn't matter who's going into that mid lane. They're going to have a rough laning phase. LeBlanc just insane at early game laning in that mid lane. So really going to have to wait and see if Envy can try and find an advantage. And we talked about INTZ wanting to play more around Revolta or play around a mid jungle duo perhaps to try and get Revolta ahead and really make him strong in the game. LeBlanc is the best mid laner for trying to establish priority and then helping out your jungler.
Which is weird because we had talked very much about the top and bot lanes being the focus of this game. As much as the jungle was going to need to impact things, it was going to be through those lanes. But all of a sudden, when a LeBlanc hits the table, when an Akali hits the table, those standards start to change, because getting one of those ahead, even by 2, 3 kills, can become a win condition very quickly.
Exactly. Like, let's not get it mistaken. And looking at these compositions, we have quadra carry comps from both squads right here. There's not really a tank save for the support role, and even then, the support role limited in the income. They can only become a pseudo tank more so than anything else. With 4 potential damage sources coming across this game from both squads, expecting a lot of early game aggression, expecting some fights to happen, and quite possibly a very large opportunity of early game snowballing.
I'm hyped up. I want you to take a look at your screen there, and I know he's not in the game, but keep your eye on that Pantheon. Still 100% ban rate in
Hmm.
CBLOL. We've already broken some rules today. Let's see if we can break a few more before the day is out. Right now, we're going to be loading into the game, and there are some nice skins in the table, actually. I have not seen that, what is this, LeBlanc skin before? Is that Program LeBlanc?
It's going to be one of the new ones. Honestly, I couldn't tell you, dear. I'm not on top of my skin game. That's entirely my own fault. But skins, unfortunately for me, they don't get the win. So I just don't care about them. Unfortunately,
I don't
sad
understand how you
times
can play
indeed.
this game. The art is so beautiful. I like, even if I don't have the skin, I'm always gonna be looking. I'm always gonna be seeing what they're putting out. They're coming out with a new one, and I don't know what it is, but it's a follow up for the Viego that's gonna be coming. How do you feel about Viego?
What is Viego, dear?
Do you don't know Viego? Okay, he's a new champion
Oh, is
that's
it
gonna
this
be
the new
hitting.
champion? Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
Rune
yeah.
King. Yeah. Okay. I'm
Exactly,
sorry.
exactly. We're
Yes,
hitting
yes,
the
yes.
rift though,
I do
so
know.
we've saved you, put you back in the space of things that are very known quantities and won't take over your champion. INTZ and Red Canids hitting the rift for their first game of the second day of CBLOL today.
And of course, Red Canids coming in with that victory from yesterday, and obviously the massive tournament victory as well, going to come in with that little more momentum, maybe that we're hoping to see them execute just consistently and really perform here today. You can see already support or the junglers here throwing their emote game out, showing that it's strong and that they've got their button bound. I know that some people don't have their emote button bound, but that is just what it is. And in professional play, I feel like it's become a staple to just show emotes at least at the start of the game.
I think you have to. If I were a professional player, I would rebind my emote. But there are a lot of steps between me and becoming a professional player, so we'll leave my emote key unbound for now. There's no situation in which I need to be emoting during the game. At the moment, though, we haven't gotten a lot of deep vision out of either team, and it's interesting to me that Titan is the one that opts for the Oracle's lens.
Yeah, I mean, typically, of course, the supports are the ones that are opting into clearing vision, and I actually don't mind the pickup for Misfortune taking this one because at level 9 he's swapping to the trinket anyway, the blue ward.
Hmm.
So maybe just before that, denying the vision, suggesting that they can look to help Aegis with some invades, look to maybe help with some roams for JoJo, and Misfortune gonna have lane priority and gonna have the opportunity to really roam around and find some vision in the river anyway.
Yeah, and we haven't explicitly pointed it out, so let's go ahead and do that right now. Guigo did end up taking the Yone into the top side. The guy who yesterday played the Urgot, played the front line very, very well, now has a totally different style to contend with, and into a laner that, let's say, is a little bit more tried and true in the top side.
Yeah, exactly. So Bowl and Aatrox in particular, a more staple pickup in the top lane. I'm not sure how this particular interaction is going to work out. Obviously, melee champions going to be quite happy up against an Aatrox in particular as they keep scrapping it out down in the bot lane here. Macau definitely looking to put the damage down and really level what or champion matchups and support matchups in particular don't necessarily matter when they reach level 2 first and can just bully you from that.
Yeah, I liked that as soon as they knew that the level 2 was going to be hit, Jojo yeets himself out of there with the justice punch, and Titan is left scrambling. Unfortunately, the hook going not wide but maybe short from Kabu will mean that they can't make the most of that opportunity, but still a rather squishy lane for the first couple levels, and now we're at a health disadvantage. Speaking of
Oh,
though,
Guigo
Guigo could
dash
find himself
forward.
at a significant one as he does not have the mobility to get out of here. Forced to burn the flash very early, still the red from Revolta ticking down, and they're trying to walk him down here. Bull's got the knockups. We go with the fancy feet, actually getting out
Oh.
for now. Has to go back to the Spirit, though, and will end up giving over first blood to Bull.
Big flash from Ball there to hit that sweet spot Q on the Q3. Really nice stuff to, first of all, get that tether and force the Souls Unbound out to make sure that he could, predict where he was going to land back, and a lovely flash to finish off the job right there. Great stuff. And when he's pushed up so far, his ward was in the river, not quite in a good enough position to spot out the graves when he was so far pushed up, dashing forward at literally the wrong second. If he'd have held it for just another second, he could have dashed away and maybe bought the space, bought the time. But the instant that he Q3 forward, Graves showed up on the ward and it was just curtains from there.
It's rough because he looked good trying to escape. It's not like he was walking into all the skill shots. He dodged almost everything, but it just didn't matter. And the thing about Yone is you always have to go back to the Spirit. You're always going to be missing that little bit of mobility, and he's probably one of the least mobile on the team, excluding Titan.
Yeah, looking at it, it's quite weird saying that Yone is maybe one of the least mobile champions. He's obviously going to have to stack up those Qs and has got the ulti to get away in a late game situation if he's in a really bad spot. But you're quite right here. Akali has ample mobility, and Nidalee, of course, with that W on a fairly short cooldown, finds it quite easy navigating her way through the jungle across terrain as well. So yeah, you are quite right in this instance, and it's kind of surprising in my thoughts.
Yeah, still gonna have a pretty nice time trading up against Bull, who has just backed and bought the Kindle Gem. Guigo, on the other hand, going for the double Dorans.
Yeah, and you can understand that with this Yone pick, he's already winning the laning phase and looking to at least put some dominance down with those double Dorans and keep the early game going. Even though that kill did go across, you could still see a sizable CS lead for the Yone in the top side. So definitely looking to continue that trend of keeping himself ahead in CS.
Yeah, and speaking of the dominance in the lane, Titan's runes have been thrown up on screen for quite a long time now. Comet Scorch with the what's this called? Domination in the second tree is not a lose lane game. This is not him playing for the later stages. He wants to take this directly into the face of Macau.
Yeah, exactly. Had mana flow band, had the scorch, and is just looking to use that E pretty much off cooldown. One of the few things that you can do with Misfortune in the laning phase when you've gone this early tier route, and you can throw your E's up much more frequently because you have maybe 2 or 3 more casts with the extra added mana from Tear of the Goddess. But also, you're just looking to time your E's nicely with both Scorch and Mana Flow Band, getting double effectiveness from those runes, making sure that you can proc Scorch, proc Mana Flow Band all within one ability. Just getting that added efficiency out of your mana uses.
Yeah, very nice freezes coming in for both lanes here. Guigo managing to stop the wave before it hits his tower in the top side, and Envy doing the same thing in the mid lane. Very nice wave management from both of these teams as I'm a little bit surprised that we aren't seeing more action early on, especially given how yesterday's games went. Envy, looking to change that though, is going to go a little bit low, and Avenger thinks he's going to finish off the kill until the Ignite comes down. Perfect execution does go wide though, and no turret
Ooh.
thankfully targeting him means that he gets out with his life. That was close.
Yeah, just about here. Forcing the flash out from Envy definitely was necessary right there. Revolta might catch him on a recall right here. Akali has to sort of stand firm.
Oh yeah, the control board goes down, and that should be the end of Avenger. But Aegis is roaming up, has the heal available as well. The Shuriken Flip will get Avenger out of
No
danger,
flash.
but no flash means that he can't escape the pit, and the Dragon is going to start it up with the knockup. Macau is going to finish it off with the auto. INTZ get their second kill of the game.
And it looked so good for Avenger in the mid lane as well, but we might not be finished just yet, Red. Looking for a bit of a fight. Looks like they're all going to back away right there. The mid lane kerfuffle that we saw, Envy definitely coming out on the worst end of the trade, burning Flash and Ignite to not even get the kill, where Avenger just had to use his ulti. Unfortunately, it was a really good flash from Envy. Let's not take it away from him because it was going to be, he would have died to the perfect execution second
Mm.
marker, and the flash bought enough space for Avenger to miss it. Did have the TP to get back to lane and managed to mop up a little bit of the wave. So it's not the worst case scenario for Akali. Obviously, dying is never something that you want, but still being able to farm the wave, going to keep yourself nice and safe.
Yeah, it hasn't changed your power level in the mid lane. What it has changed is the relative power levels in the bot lane, since Macau was the one to pick up that kill, and Macau, the one on the Kaisa that's going to scale into the lane bully, just doesn't seem like the greatest news for Red Canids.
No, nice, of course, for them to pick up a kill onto the Kaiser, who, not been struggling in the laning phase, is expected to be down this level of CS, but getting an extra kill onto that late game powerhouse definitely going to help out. Where you're hoping maybe for the LeBlanc to win in that mid lane up against Akali. It's quite difficult now that the Akali's reached level 6. But Envy, we've talked about the fact that the LeBlanc was supposed to be helping out Revolta, supposed to be helping out the rest of INTZ. With a 500 gold lead at 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes, maybe was hoping for a little bit more.
Yeah, quite possibly. Revolta is spotted by Aegis, but will manage to get himself out of there. The thing that I want to point out is Revolta goes on the invade here. Aegis is going to need to get out of his jungle since Bull is coming in to help him out. Nice dodge out
There are
on the
5 people
spear.
topside here.
Yeah, will mean that the Grump does go over. No actual fight ensuing though. Importantly, this is still the dance around. Revolta gets tagged by a spear. He's well out of lethal. Aegis, you gotta be. This is not your fight, my man.
He's also down at a level as well, and so early on, early statistics from levels really important. And taking a fight level 6 versus level 7 definitely not so advised. But you could see that with everybody being roamed up from INTZ and them not getting anything from it, it gave Red Canids the time to push in the bot lane wave, force Mikau to go back down because he didn't want to miss that fat wave under the turret, and actually now gives the advantage to Red Canids. They're the ones that are going to pick up the Rift Herald when really they rotated their bot lane up. They could have just taken it earlier.
Yeah, very very well done to be able to pick up the first Rift Herald. However, you are going to give over the first Dragon here as the Windrake does get started by Revolta. Titan clearing out some wards, just trying to keep it so that you can be in the area, but this is not going to be a contest by any means.
No, they've traded the neutral objectives here. INTZ recognizing that, well, they did rotate up and we weren't able to find the Herald. Let's just use this time to find the Drake instead. Set themselves up to get going toward that Drake soul. Got themselves the Cloud Dragon, a little bit more ability haste on their ultimates. Always going to be useful when you're playing champions like Nautilus, like the Kaiser as well, dependent on that for mobility, dependent on it for engages as well. Going to have them at their disposal just a little bit more.
Yeah, and the thing that I wanted to point out earlier when we were going on this invade spree right before Rift Herald was that we talked about Nidalee being paired with hard CC, hopefully for INTZ, because we didn't see it yesterday. It once again hasn't really happened, but this time the error is on the part of Red Canids. There's no lane that Aegis feels happy farm ganking or setting up a tent in because there's not really anybody that can consistently set her up.
No, you're probably looking more toward the Yone or toward the Galio to give you the best option for that, but also just looking at who you're going to gank, trying to find kills onto an Aatrox can be quite difficult with the ulti giving him movement speed. The little mini dash away makes it very difficult to land any spears. Yes, Yone has got a couple of chain CCs that he can throw in, but they're all skill shot dependent as well, and you have the same issue once again with the little dash making it difficult. So you're quite right here. Nidalee not going to be ganking, but is quite happy to do that. Both of these junglers here, very happy just continually taking their camps and farming up to a point where they're both going to be powerhouses in terms of damage.
And with the other thing that we wanted to see fixed from yesterday, we wanted to see INTZ pick up a team fighting team, and I
Oh.
think that they've done it reasonably well here. There's not a whole lot of well, I definitely need to sideline. Aatrox is a relatively flexible champion as compared to somebody like a Camille. As long as he doesn't go down to Guigo, he should be able to continue sidelining. Pops the World Ender just to stay alive, but Guigo as well, wasting his own ult and not getting a kill.
Trying to assert a bit of dominance in the top side. Nothing really gained by either top laner there by throwing their ultis. Just going to make it a little bit more tight in terms of their health bars. And if we look at the minimap here, it is going to be INTZ that are the ones roaming up. Spotted on a ward now. Guigo, you are pinned between three people. What's the escape plan?
He's got no ultimate either. Just walks his way out from under tower. Actually
Oh,
goes for a bolt here. Picks up a kill in a 1v3 does Guigo. And you can see why he is the staple of Red Canids from yesterday.
hey, we talked about it, and they're going again. Aegis dashes in.
Oh, gets taken down by Avenger too with a flash forward. And the double kill goes over to him, picking up Envy with the last 5-point strike.
And what a turnaround that is. Trade of ultis on the top side, and then first priority once again from INTZ to roam up and potentially have the play on the top side. They don't go for it. They don't manage to find it. Guigo with some beautiful 1 versus 3 mechanics here. Just have a look at this. You see the collateral damage goes just wide, Envy not in range, and Guigo just flashes on top of Bowl, takes him down using that nice little mini Z ulti to find the kill, and then Aegis roaming up with Titan and Avenger. You can see dashes over, flash to follow from Aegis and Revolta, and you can
Oh,
see the flash
yes.
ulti there. It's just so clean. Once again, Red responding to INTZ's plays and then just doing what they should have done, but better.
Yeah, everybody was dead so fast. Jojo didn't even get kill participation. He had to walk up there and watch. Now Avenger 2 kills up is going to be the scary Akali that we have come to know and love. Doesn't have the Rift Maker just yet, as I assume that's what Akali still goes.
No, with the alternator here, that's definitely not going to be Riftmaker. I can
Oh.
tell you that it might be Night Harvester. Could be Proto Belt, though I doubt Proto Belt is something that Akali needs with all of the mobility that she has innately. So I'm gonna expect the Night Harvester, and I'll wait to be
Huh.
proven wrong otherwise. But yeah, the bonus damage that you get off of just existing with Night Harvester definitely going to help out the Akali.
Yeah, and should have the gold for that relatively soon, as mythic items have already started to come in. Misfortune with the Gale Force, Titan having a little bit of extra mobility, and the Night Harvester as well also picked up by Aegis. The Gore Drinker for Bull, though, is really what's standing out to me right now, is that item really levels Bruisers up.
It does. You just get so much sustain in team fights if you're able to get it going at the right time. Obviously, did receive a little bit of a nerf recently, but it is still incredibly strong and still by far the best mythic item for an Aatrox to pick up, who in his own right has a lot of sustain anyway. With the God Drinker on top, can definitely be quite difficult to get through. I'm expecting to see some anti-healing at some point because we have God Drinker, we've got Immortal Shield Bow as well, and regardless of what Kai'Sa goes, there's going to need to be some anti-healing to keep down the top side duo.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Guigo ends up going as well. I've seen Gale Force, I've seen Immortal Shield Bow. I personally am a fan of the Immortal Shield Bow because of how scary it makes the Yone if you do not and manage to finish him off, actually 100-0 him and deal with this champion.
Ooh.
Nice dash over the wall from Aegis gets him out of trouble. Envy, though, pops right into trouble, into the channel of the bullet time, and Macau is not able to do anything about it. Needs to use the killer instinct to get out himself. Kabu going to once again support, dying for people's sins as Avenger looks to continue the trend here. Has the backup of Jojo coming in, and Bull gets knocked up, but he's so low on health. He's got to get out of here because Envy is looking for it. Bull is the one that ends up getting the shutdown, though, and kills Avenger for the second time this game.
And they do trade it in a better, in an advantageous trade for Red Canids. They get themselves the dragon as well as the extra kill right there. The Akali diving just 1,000 units under the turret because that's what Akali does, and that's why Akali gets banned every game. And also, it was the rocket belt, so just even more mobility going to be in for Avenger if he's not managing to find the gap close now. Has Shuriken Flip, has also got that rocket belt to maybe find this start off with the first portion of perfect execution. But Drake being able to be picked up does mean that the Rift Herald going to be transferred once again, a trade of objectives for the squad. Nice from INTZ to really capitalize on the road, on the resets and on the timing that Red Canids have given them.
And I want to point out very quickly, since we have popped over to it, the Immortal Shield Bow is picked up for Guigo here, who was no small part of last fight.
No, Yone definitely making his presence felt in this team fight already. Has got a lot of potential to really pop off with that ultimate. Can definitely make the difference if you find one or two, maybe even three people. You find the right people in particular. If he gets onto Macau, you can definitely one shot with the Souls Unbound as well. So we'll have to wait and see if this, continuation of Yone's power does spike up, because he's going to be looking for that Infinity Edge, looking for that Bloodthirster. And we talked about anti-healing needed to come through for the Canids. It's going to be the exact same for INTZ.
Yeah, and I wonder where your best source of this is to come from. Is it Avenger with the Morellos? Who is it that wants to invest that extra time into this? Guigo definitely investing a
Ooh.
lot of time into getting away, and a lot of cooldowns as well, because Cab was on the hunt.
Yeah, Flash wasn't quite available. He's now going to be back up. But to answer your question here, as the Herald goes down mid lane, this is just not going to be answered. The beauty of season 11 is that quite literally anybody can pick up the anti-healing. That grievous wounds has been made so accessible to so many people, and with these quadra carry comps, it's incredibly easy for people to just pick up an executioners, pick up a oblivion orb to get that healing in. So I could see it literally on all four of the top side or the top carry members. Guigo now looking for a fight though. Has going to have to pop back at some point as Aegis is there to try and support, but the boys are here. Bot lane, the frat house, the party has been called and it's time to party.
Ult's not up for Guigo just yet, so Kappa's going to start off tanking the turret, but just gets blown
No.
up. Next up is Revolta, who survives on barely any HP. Jojo has now arrived, though, and this is going tails up for INTZ as Macau gets picked off by the taunt, and now Bull, the last one left alive of that particular turret dive, will not find Titan, will not find anything. Titan, though, walks away with a triple kill.
Beautiful stuff using the Gale Force to get in and mop up the kills that were there for him. Four people go under the turret and none of them come out alive. They do take down Guigo, who manages to get a quick retribution kill as well. The shield bow paying dividends, giving him that little bit more extra time to survive. You see Aegis just now full HP already after the healing and after being able to survive underneath the turret. It goes horribly wrong for INTZ, and Red Canids once again quick to respond and they're quick to trade back.
I want to point out that if the game goes in the favor of Red Canids, this is a huge turning point for them. They've moved themselves up to a 5k gold lead, but hey, Rodad, let's take a look at this.
Exactly, right. So you can see here 2 versus 4 INTZ. They're more than happy, but a big chunk from Aegis to begin with the Night Harvest starts it off. Kabu misses the hook as well, so it just becomes incredibly difficult. And then just a massive combo actually from the Yone really puts everybody down and really dissuades them from the fight. Jojo as well with a lovely hero's entrance to keep the team alive. Aegis uses the stasis as well under the turret. There's just so many things that are well played by Red. Titan as well dodging out on the or not getting hit by the pullback from the chains just helps out in all instances, right? They're using the MF movement speed to really keep himself safe and picks up that triple kill.
Yeah, ends up surviving and even thriving here as he moves himself to the second, or rather third, of all the carries on Red Canids to have 3 kills. They are very, very stacked right now and actually have a pretty significant gold lead. It's not the end of the world, but this is the stuff that wins are made of.
Exactly right. This is the beautiful start of a mid-game toward end-game sequence here for Red Canids. They've got themselves obviously this 4,500 gold lead right now. Going to look to accelerate that. We haven't quite reached 20 minutes. Haven't quite broached the Baron timer yet. And also waiting just a little bit here for the dragon to respawn. Going to be 25 seconds before the Infernal Drake comes up with so many carries here. Every single Infernal matters so much. And Envy getting a bit aggressive here in the jungle, maybe looking for Guigo, who quite rightfully dashes out with 5 members of INTZ in the bot side. They're looking to go for this Drake without doubt.
Yeah, you haven't got that much vision in your jungle anymore right now, and that's going to need to change if Red want to contest this dragon. It isn't so much about the point, though. It's more about the actual individual buff that you get from the dragon that you mentioned earlier. Guigo misses the ult, and Envy should be able to waltz his way out of this. A bunch gets committed onto him. Macau takes a bit of damage, but it's Red trying to force their way into the dragon pit. Ventures over the wall and finds the shuriken. This could be the end if he can find the damage, but no actual DPS is found. Fortunately, Red do manage to force INTZ off of the dragon and claim it for themselves in a surprising turn of events. Guigo gonna get the Immortal Shield Bow popped, and Bull steps a little bit too far forward after the fact. I'm not sure what the fight was about.
Yeah, incredibly confusing right there for INTZ. They lose the dragon and then maybe think that they can take a fight if Kabu finds a good connection, but You just see that with everybody there, the Canids just turn back around and they pick themselves up the free kill that is donated to them in that instance. Lovely stuff to net themselves the Drake, net themselves a quick kill as well. They get themselves the mid tier 1 turret as well, and you can see gold lead starting to extend even further. Now up to 5,000 with that extra kill, and the, as you mentioned, stats that come from the Infernal Dragon going to help out literally every single person on the Red Canids roster.
Yeah, this is really really nice for Red and propels them to a little bit further of a gold lead, even if it is partially artificial, because the amount of value that they're getting off of all those things. Macau just trying to pick up what gold he can, as he's been relegated to a lot of following up. He's trying to keep up with the team, to be there at the team fights, and it means that he's fallen significantly behind to his counterpart.
Yeah, and you can see that Titan just has the most farm and the most gold in the game right now. 2,500 ahead of anybody in the game. And on the left right there, you can see Macau actually has the most in his team. So is the carry force so far that they're hoping for and they're hoping to be able to get a hold of. But up against Akali, Nidley, Yone, it's incredibly difficult for even a Kai'Sa to navigate team fights and really start pumping out DPS reliably, because if any of those assassins get onto you, you've got one way to get away with your ulti, and then they've just got 7 other mobility uses that they can use. It's so hard to try and navigate team fights.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough time, but the person that I'm looking to be the leader in that is once again Revolta, who we'd pointed out at the start of today is still being quite a good player that we're expecting to stand out for the side of INTZ. I once again have seen him be good, but not really do anything king worthy, is what I'm looking to say.
Yeah, I agree, right? That Revolta in the early game might, well, fall right now as Avengers going in.
If Avengers looking to commit regicide here, does pop the Immortal Shield Bone, might have gone in over his head. There's 3 members here, but Titan shows up as well, and all of a sudden, these chunks really start to come through. Cabu goes down first, and Bull finds himself in a backline where he did not want to be. Vigo buys time and ends up taking down the king himself. Now follows it up with his mid laner, and Macau, the last one left alive. It always feels like you can't quite get enough in.
He can't. There's, like I say, just too much backline access. Yone, Akali, Nidalee all wanting to pump out damage into this backline makes it incredibly difficult for even Kai'Sa, as I mentioned, to take some team fights. And you can see the reaping the rewards here at Red. They're going to get themselves the Baron. They're going to be able to probably start looking to knock on some inner turrets here, break open the base with this Baron, get their resets going, and really start stamping themselves across the game.
To me, this is what makes this roster so strong, is that I can look at that team fight and individually point out times when everybody on Red Canids pulled that together. Guigo with the save at the end, trying to keep everybody involved, doing a lot of finishing damage. Avenger with the front loaded, and Titan there with the support, the damage that actually made this where you could get kills, the slows that came in. I feel like everybody pulled their weight here on Avengers, and INTZ are struggling to find that exact same coordination that is going to elude you in the early stages of the season.
It's incredibly difficult with the composition as well that they've drafted. Just in terms of having a LeBlanc, this R5 pick that they were hoping to be able to put a lot of pressure on and really stabilize and just start winning with the LeBlanc really just hasn't felt like it's done anything here. You can see now going in on Avenger, but that's a pretty much full combo from LeBlanc, and it's just not doing the work.
No, Macau even with the Acathian Ray not doing nearly any damage, and he has so much mobility, will end up popping the Zanyas, even the second part of the perfect execution, and still almost get away. Macau fortunately picking him up, but you're losing so much in your base right now. You've lost both your tier 2s and might even lose your mid inhibitor tower.
Yeah, definitely going to fall right here with 2 people still walking their way up from the Dragon Pit and one actually managing to get a recall off. Looks like top tier 3 could be under siege as well, but Red recognizing that the recalls could have come through, going to take their leave, and with 10,000 gold to the good, they're still going to be able to walk their way up into the base if they want to take a fight.
Yeah, they did end up getting the pick on Avenger. There's something here, but it's not what you want. Right now, the picks that you want come onto people like Titan with a 700 gold bounty. That's going to be the thing that gets you back into the game. Right now, you've got maybe 1,000 gold before you're 10k behind, and 10k is that very infamous ending of the game level of down in gold.
Yeah, exactly. 9k not much better here, but there's still that small chance where if they can find a couple more picks like that, if LeBlanc can really get going and start rolling in this game, then there's a chance that LeBlanc can start to carry through. But has got 1.5 items here up against Misfortune, who's got 3.5, up against Akali, who's got 2.5. Just it's so difficult here for INTZ to make anything happen through this LeBlanc that they're really struggling in the game. And Ball as well, under fire under the turret, could just go down.
Yeah, they can make things happen on, or rather around
Oh,
Guigo. Bull flashing forward, sees the kill, but can't quite make it happen there. I see the idea. It looks good. Unfortunately, Bull not able to contend with the Baron push, and now Jojo popping the Righteous Glory wants to try and find these kills. Bull gets taunted
oh,
up, and
double up.
that is a beautiful rain of bullets.
And they get both the kills right there under the turret. Bowl was definitely looking for a fight on Guigo, but with Aegis there to support, there was more than enough healing between the shield bow, between the Nidalee to keep that Yone alive, and Titan, as well as Jojo, using the Shirelias actually really nicely to get in range. And Bullet Time, as you mentioned, got both the kills. There was a double up as well from the Misfortune, and this could actually spell the end of the game right here. With 20 seconds on the death times of the solo laners, Red Canids, they're looking aggressive.
You can see that Aegis doesn't agree. He's still autoing the inhibitor. Everybody else on Red Canids is like, okay, fine, we'll do this before we actually win the game. But like you say, there is a genuine chance that they take this down here. INTZ would need to find a crazy angle, and Macau going down is
Macau.
not the angle. Titan goes golden just to save his life, but this could be the end of him. He gets shut down as 700 gold goes over to Graves. Avenger cleans it up on the back end, though, picking off the AD carry that so wronged him. Now needs to limp his way out, though, as Red Canids do get chunked out, but the Nexus is exposed for INTZ.
So 2 for 1, they do pick up that big bounty that you talked about. 1,000 gold goes in the pockets of INTZ right there, so they're going to be very happy that they've been able to pick that one up. But you can still see that they are so far behind, and now with their Nexus exposed, the rest of this game has to be picture perfect from INTZ if they even stand a chance of making this game happen. Honestly, they could play the game perfect out from here, and as long as Red Canids play maybe up to 50% of what they need to do, it's the Red Canids that are going to come away with this one.
Yeah, even if I'm in a solo queue game, I feel really, really good about my odds here. We can get the AFK, we can figure things out because INTZ are in a spot where even one misexecution will cost you the game. It feels kind of like Superman. You've heard that saying. As Superman, you only need to mess up once, but the villains just need, or what is it? The villains just need to succeed once. Superman needs to be perfect every time, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
feels very much
Is
like
it?
that right now. You've run out of all your chances.
That's they have, unfortunately, and they've maybe have left it too little, too late to find the perfect team fight. And Titan, of course, not going to have a stasis this time round, so there's an opportunity to find some backline access and really take down the Misfortune. But you look at the Red Canids roster, and we mentioned it from the start, going all the way through. This is a quadra carry comp for Red Canids. If they take down the Misfortune, that's great, that's perfect. But they've still got Yone, Akali, Nidalee, and Mikau.
They
Well,
take
I
down the
mean.
Misfortune. Titan
Mhm.
says no. Flash Forward Gale Force assassinates your own AD carry. This is a different kind of Misfortune, and we're going to see a very different kind of INTZ, specifically those with gray screens here as Avenger dances around, Bull healing up a ridiculous amount, but even a full health bar is not going to be enough when Red Canids take to the Rift and take